Okay, yeah. Peace is really, I think, of course, also for philosophers, an interesting topic. And I just had to think about, I mean, peace is in a very maybe intuitive first understanding, absence of war. But I think all the artists that I collected here, that come together here, but also Edward Hicks, as you just said, it's not this easy understanding, but it has also to do with harmony, which connects quite well, I think, also to then East Asian traditions, where Wa is the concept of peace. But also, I mean, relation to nature and relation to other, would you say, to other groups of society, to other peoples, in a way.
Yeah.
I found that interesting.
Yeah, peace, like I say, it's a big word, And for example, for the Peaceful Kingdom, I remember when the paintings from each artist start coming in, there was one particular, when I opened it, I thought, did this person understand the work? Because visually, it has absolutely no relationship to Edward Hicks or to the previous artist who invited this person to do the work. It's like this person didn't see Edward Hicks nor this one here. Interesting thing is that when I read the statement, there is so much connection to Edward Hicks and to that, to the previous artist who invited this artist here. So that is when I need to step back as an artist, thinking, wait. Lee Mingwei's idea of peace is of course different from this artist who has thought a lot about what peace is and then brave enough to present it in a such different way. So what it really gives me a chance to think of what is peace for me, right? And stop judging other people, although it's my invitation and this artist's invitation, but we invited you to think what your version of peace is, and here you're so brave enough to show it to us. Fantastic. Let's all do it and celebrate the fact that we all have very different idea of what peace could be and is.
And could you say that, because the other artwork that is closely connected to the idea of peace seems to be Guernica in Sand.
Exactly.
Is that in a way your expression of your own idea of peace?
Yes. So Guernica in Sand is, just very quickly, I'll describe that work, is a sand painting created with amazing help with the students here. We all put in together about 900 hours and after 7,000 kilos of sand. So you can imagine on July 3rd, I and 3 other performers will go down one at a time to finish the last part of it while one visitor from the audience can start walking on the sand painting. The dynamic between someone who is painstakingly finishing this work and someone walking on it, you think, oh goodness, is this person destroying the work? Question mark. I don't know. Because the person who is seemingly creating the work could be also destroying it, and the person who's walking could be creating the next stage of the work. So again, it really comes back to you to question what is going on here. Is it the destruction and creation coexisting in the space? And does one need the other, right? So I had the privilege of someone who watched this whole performance and then came to me and said, Mingwei, this is the first time I've seen a contemporary work that embodies the idea of Shiva, which is the creation and destruction, right in front of her face. And that helped me understand my work in a 180-degree turn, because I usually, or before that conversation, I thought, when someone's walking on it, and then we brush the sand painting at the end of a performance, it's really destroying it. She said for her, after the walking and the brushing the sand, of course, visually becomes something completely different, yeah? And there are remnants of what you could tell was Guernica. However, for her, she said, that lifted the death mask and life come up from this gesture of brushing and sort of chaos. Yeah? So I was so moved having that conversation with her and understand that in a way they all coexist. If there's no creation, then there's no destruction, and vice versa. And hopefully it's a balance that we could find within ourselves. And again, it's a conversation, a meditation.
And with regard to peace, this means that peace is also not like a state, like the finished end product, but it's always a process.
It's a process, exactly. And our idea of peace probably might be slightly different than our ancestors, and depends on where you're coming from. But I think the main structure of ideas is peace is he, or wa in Japanese, not da he, and harmony within yourself, with the nature, with the neighbors, and with the state that you're living in.
Yeah, this idea of peace within yourself reminds me of an interview I've just read with a Brazilian photographer, Sebastião Salgado. And I found that very moving, because I also find it a quite harsh statement that he says that he became at peace with himself, or he found peace within himself, the moment that he realized humankind is going to die out, but nature will flourish. Nature will flourish again. I, in a way, understood it, this feeling of, it's good that rainforests will regrow and so on. On the other hand, I thought, it's hard to bear, in a way, that there is no place for humankind in this final peaceful world.
Yes.
And I mean, I experience in your work more hope that peace can be found with humanity.
Yes, I'm more optimistic. And sometimes I go through this a small meditation process for myself before I go to bed, is that I will imagine, but imagine not in the sense of magical imagine, but I will trace my life to my parents, right? And then to my grandparents, which, I know, I met them, but I never met my great-grandparents. So I'll go one step back. And then I'll go one step back. If I continue that tracing back, there is a gap or generation that is between a human and a non-human, that cross, right?
Yeah.
Continue that tracing, then there is a connection between a mammal and probably an insect. I don't know, that's my ancestor. And then you trace that back, there is a little gap between monocell with the amoeba, whatever. Yeah. So that line has never been broken. Imagining the magic, the miracle that is, because this little cell could be eaten by the other cell, and then I wouldn't be here. It's so magical, and that's why I feel so optimistic about humankind and about the kindness of people. Yes.